people. And before I go any further, I want to thank so many of you for all the great birthday well wishes that I had from so many of you. It was like overwhelming. I really mean that. So I appreciate that very much. Getting older, 74 years old, the years keep going. But people say, Michael, you're getting a little older. It's better than the alternative, which is not getting older. So I'm very happy for that. Been very blessed to be where I am at this point in time. So hope everybody else is doing well. Yesterday we had a very hot day here in Southern California. It was up in the mid 80s. I took the first dip in my pool in my new home. I think many of you know that I moved over the past 2 weeks. We're in our new studio, even though it's not all set up yet. I think you see we have a bit different backdrop. We got the photo of all the 50 biggest mob guys in the last 100 years. That's behind me, but we're going to have a beautiful setup here as we continue to set up this week. But people, I got to tell you, moving is a rough deal, no matter what. We were a long time in our former home. Fortunately, I only moved a block away from where I lived before, so it's really great. But it's been a great move, a tough move, but we're settled finally, and all we have to do now is put a few other things in place, and we're all good to go. So, what are we doing this weekend? I got a crazy couple of weeks ahead of me. I'm going to be in Monaco for 10 days on a big mastermind that I'm speaking at. I'll be in Vegas at the end of this week for anybody that wants to come that's there locally. It's a great Christian conference called Kingdom Bound. If you want some information, just let me know and I'll give it to you. We'll put it in the chat or we'll figure it out somehow. Then I'll be going to Australia. Finally got my visa. That's in July. So we got a lot of stuff going on. But we will continue to bring you content from wherever I am. We're going to be filming, no problem at all. So what's happened this past week that's worth talking about? You know, I got to tell you, with Trump as president, there's never a dull moment. Every single day something's happening, no question about that. But let's go to talk about what I think are the topics of the week. And then we're going to take some comments and questions on both YouTube and Rumble. Let me start out with the Diddy trial. People, I don't know if you've been following this, but I got to tell you, I took some notes on this because there's so much going on. You know, very interesting. It's tough to listen to. I mean, the testimony so far from some of these witnesses does not paint a good picture of Diddy. And let me tell you this, for me, same thing, whether it be the Tates or Diddy or anybody else, innocent until proven guilty, no doubt about it. However, in the Diddy case, we have video and we have some things that suggest that he wasn't the nicest kind of guy. Let's put it that way. The testimony that's coming out and so on and so forth, it's pretty rough. And, you know, we'll see what happens. But I got to tell you, it's been rough. It's been rough to follow because the testimony has been very, very harsh. And even under cross-examination, I think a lot of the testimony from the prosecution witnesses, it's standing up so far. That's what I've noticed. But something very interesting, you all remember Suge Knight. Well, he reached out to me recently, and I'm going to be sitting down with him probably in the next week or so. I got a lot going on, but we're going to try to get that. He calls from prison. He was on Pierce Morgan, and he's appeared on a few other places since, but he got in touch with me and wants to get back on with me, and I'll do that. Suge was, I believe, credible. He was a credible guy to talk to, and I enjoyed the conversation. So did many of you. But he had some comments about the Diddy case, and I want to discuss them with you. And his first thing, Knight said that Diddy should take the stand in his own defense despite the risks. Now, as a veteran of trials, I've been on trial 5 times. 5 times I was either acquitted or the case was dismissed. In each case, I was willing to take the stand. In each case, my lawyer didn't want me to take the stand. Normally, defense lawyers do not want a defendant to take the stand. The only time they do it is if they feel we got a bad case against us and the only shot we got is for the defendant to take the stand and hope that he or she can appeal to the jury. In my cases, my lawyers always felt we're going to win this. We don't need to put you on the stand and expose you to cross-examination. In case the jury just doesn't take a liking to you, we don't want to take the risk. Now, in this case, Suge Knight is saying, I believe that this is so bad so far that Diddy's got to get on the stand and try to clean it up. He's got to try to appeal to the jury. He's got to try to let the jury know that He was suffering from drug abuse or whatever his issues were at that time. So he should take the stand. I don't agree with that. You know, the testimony is so harsh. I don't think there's any way the defendant is going to be able to give an excuse or a reason why he did it. We have that video of him basically abusing Carrie in the hotel by the elevator. How do you clean that up? You say I was drug crazed? I don't think the jury's going to care about that. That's not an excuse. How do you clean that up? I don't think, Diddy should take the stand in this case. I think under cross-examination, there's no excuse. There's nothing that he could say. I think the defense tactic here has to be to cross-examine these witnesses, try to tell them, hey, they're doing this for money or whatever the reason might be. But I think it would be a mistake as a veteran from 5 trials. And each trial I won and didn't take the stand. I don't think he's got a shot here. If he takes the stand, I think he's going to hurt himself even more. That's my opinion. But Suge said he believes Diddy should own up to whatever demons he has, present a more human side to the jury by acknowledging past struggles, particularly with drugs. Is that an excuse? Hey, I was a drug addict, so this is what I did? I don't think so. And I think there's enough video and tape on him, and there's enough testimony from others to show that that's not going to stand up. So respectfully, I disagree. And listen, he has his points. I mean, Suge, that's his feeling. I respectfully disagree with that at this point in time. I think Diddy taking the stand would seal the case for the government. Knight argued that jurors respond better to defendants who speak for themselves and show remorse, even if they're imperfect. Yes, that's a good, possibly. Not in this case. I don't believe so. Not from what I'm seeing so far in this case. I don't think so. Some speculate this is less about support, more a strategic move to reposition himself as a truth teller in hip hop's legal sagas. I don't think he should take a stand. That's the bottom line. So Suge and I disagree on that point. Legal experts are divided. Some say Diddy testifying would open him up to brutal cross-examination. That's my position. Others think Knight's advice isn't without merit. Again, there's 2 sides to this, but I think in this case, no way. The story has fueled further media coverage and reignited debate about the moral responsibilities of music icons facing legal consequences. Listen, this is a tough case to defend, no question about it. These witnesses are giving brutal testimony. They seem to be standing up under cross-examination. Carrie, she was a sympathetic figure. She was pregnant at the time. She cried on the stand. Cassie, I should say. I keep getting her name wrong. Thank you. My wife just corrected me on that. And I think this is going to be a tough case no matter what. I could be wrong. We'll see. Innocent until proven guilty. He's got good defense attorneys. We'll see what kind of defense they put up. But I think it's a tough shot at this time. Another interesting thing, Donald Trump, this guy, he just loves to be controversial. He was asked if he would consider a pardon for Diddy. And he said he would consider it. He said everybody deserves due process and he would consider it. I don't know if that was the right statement to make at this point in time during the trial. Maybe after he reviews everything and there's something wrong that he didn't like with the legal system, if he thinks Diddy got a bad shake, well, that's something else, But I don't know if he should have made that statement at this point in time, especially in light of the fact that he's given some pardons that are controversial recently. He pardoned the Chrisleys. Okay. There's some speculation that maybe because the Chrisley's daughter, became a champion for Trump, that he returned the favor because she was campaigning for him. She got close to some of the Trump family, and in return, he returned the favor. I don't think it was that alone. I think that might have had something to do with it. But why did the daughter go to their defense? Because she believed that they were wrongly accused, and that was a bad case. So I have a lot of respect for the daughter. I really do, that she went to bat for her father and mother. I would, if that was my own child, I would be honored and blessed. So I totally understand that. But I think Trump, is a little smarter than that. I'm sure he reviewed the case and saw some things in there that he didn't like. And there he gave the pardon. And of course, what happens? The Democrats go after him. You know, I got to tell you something, people. I'm watching on X. I'm watching Adam Schiff, the biggest liar, phony, and hypocrite that there is, who wasted $36 million of taxpayer money, you know, with a phony investigation about Russiagate, who lied throughout it all, who lied through the impeachment process. This is a bad guy. Everything that he says on X is one thing: to go against Trump. Everything. He doesn't offer anything positive. He doesn't offer anything beneficial to the American people. It's all about going against Trump, as every other Democrat. They don't offer any good policies. They don't offer any good suggestions. All they do is complain and knock everything that Trump does. Elizabeth Warren, same thing. And I've responded so many times, Miss Warren, why don't you offer something positive for the American people? All you have to do, all you have in your playbook is to knock Trump. You don't offer anything positive. And by the way, all of those that are knocking Trump's pardons, why are they not talking about Biden's pardons? All these preemptive pardons that he gave his families that are unheard of, going back 11 years, because they were complicit in him in peddling his vice presidency to the tune of $27 or $28 million. But they're not talking about that. They didn't talk about it at the time that it happened. They didn't talk about the 1,500 pardons that he issued, something like that, with the auto pen. I'll get into that. Who really gave these pardons? We don't even know that. There's an investigation open at this point in time. But, you know, all they do is knock everything that Trump does. They have nothing beneficial to the American people to offer. They're talking now about health care, and that Trump's, you know, big, beautiful bill is going to hurt Medicaid and hurt Social Security. It's all a lie. It's not true. It's going to be servicing billionaires. They say this, but they offer no evidence to that. They offer no facts. They offer no proof. They don't bring one, not even one, you know, billionaire that's going to benefit from this big, beautiful bill. They just talk. It's talking points, because anything and everything they have in their arsenal is to go against Trump. They live for it. They open up the paper every day. What did Trump say? Let's go against it. Let's attack it. That's all they do. They do nothing productive to earn their keep or their salary in Congress. Nothing whatsoever. Go and look. Tell me what they're offering that's positive. They want to talk now about Medicaid and Social Security. What did they do when they were in office? Nothing. Not a thing. What did they do about health care? Obama's bill was nonsense. We saw that. His whole health care bill was nonsense. You know, Obamacare, we saw that. What have they done? It's up to Congress to do something. They've done nothing. All they do is talk anti-Trump rhetoric. That's all it is. And it's consistent and it doesn't stop. They have nothing positive to offer. Let's move on to what I think is the biggest story. And by the way, I'll take your comments in a bit. The biggest story, and I believe, before I get to that, let me talk about Trump's tariffs. We know that the court has knocked down some of his tariffs. Look, I have to say this. Trump is standing by these tariffs. He believes that the tariffs are the way to enrich America and bring back manufacturing to America. All this nonsense about, you know, the Democrats are saying that he's trying to make his billionaires even more wealthy. That's nonsense. I do believe that Trump wants to make America the manufacturing giant again. I think he wants to cripple China in that regard. I think he wants to cripple other nations that have been hurting us. I believe that. And it's a fact that these nations have been hurting us. No question. China has been taking advantage of us. So he believes the fix for this is tariffs. His methodology, did he go too fast? I don't know about that. I don't operate on that level to say, yes, I know that he went too fast. I try to listen to both sides. I think both sides make sense in this regard, but I think his intentions are honorable with these tariffs. Now, we do know that the Democrats, when they file these lawsuits against Trump to stop everything that he's doing, whether it be immigration, deportations, tariffs, we know that they judge hunt, that they look for sympathetic judges that are Democrats. We know that. That's a fact. We see that. That's indisputable. But now we have a court that knocked down Trump's use of the tariffs in the way he enacted them. He's going to the Supreme Court to try to remedy that. I don't know. But again, we know the Democrats are going to attack him on every level. I just hope at the end of the day, I'm telling you, I give him my support because I think his intentions are honorable and this is what he believes is going to happen. The same with the bill that he's passing. I believe that he wants to help the American people. That's what I believe. That's that's what I believe in his policy. So I'm going to support that. And again, until and unless the Democrats bring something positive forward to be a benefit to the American people and to this country, I'm going to support Donald Trump because I already know from the past 4 years and from the Obama years that the Democrats' intentions are not honorable. When they go so violently against, and I say violently, against Musk, and violently because what did they do? They went after his Teslas. We know what they did. I have to get into all of that again. Okay. We saw that their history was not for the benefit of the people of this country. We saw that. They demonstrated that for 4 years and maybe for 8 years before that. They got wealthy. The Elizabeth Warrens, the Nancy Pelosi's, even the Bernie Sanders, who rails all the time against billionaires. He doesn't say millionaires anymore because he's a multimillionaire. So he doesn't say that anymore. Elizabeth Warren, millionaire. Now they all talk billionaires because they've already reached the millionaire status while they were in Congress. Remember that. While they were in Congress. So they've had nothing positive to offer. All they do is spend our money, increase the deficit, and offer no good solution. They were the ones that allowed what? 15, 20, we don't even know how many illegal migrants that they allowed in this country. They did nothing positive or beneficial to the American people. They were the ones, okay, that lied to us through COVID. They were the ones that lied to us about Biden's competency. They were the ones that lied to us about the border being secure. They were the ones that wanted to take our ability to drive gas-powered cars away. Remember? Here in California, by 2035, no more gas cars. Why? Who are they to tell us what to drive? Who are they to impose that upon us? That's what they wanted. They're the ones that were telling us that we had to have a certain dryer in our house, a certain washing machine in our house. They're the ones that were restricting us, not Donald Trump. So they have no credibility. They lied to us for 4 years. But now they want to say that Trump's tariffs are going to destroy America. And again, I believe he believes that this is the best thing for this country. Did he implement them too fast? I don't know. I don't want to say he did. I don't want to say he didn't. Because some people are wondering, I think in Detroit, the car manufacturing industry, they're happy. The steel manufacturers, they're happy. There's a lot of people happy with Trump's tariffs and some people that are not. The stock market, has it recovered? Yes. So there's this controversy about this. I get it. But I don't believe the Democrats are credible in knocking everything that Trump does. We're going to have division in this country no matter what. It seems that way. These two sides are never going to get together for some reason. And that's really, really not to the benefit of the American people. It's really sad because they don't care about us. At the end of the day, the Democrats don't care about us. They really don't. Because if they did, they try to work together, but they don't. Instead, anything that could go against Trump, that's what they do, whether it's for our benefit or not. They won't even research it. They don't even look into it. They just say it. That's it. Trump said it. We got to go against it. We don't research it. We don't know if it's helpful to the American people or not. We just got to go against it because that's the position that we took. Period. End of day. Anti-Trump. That's it. American people be damned. Now I got to move on to what I think, people, I'm going to tell you this. I think this is the biggest scandal in the history of our country. And I really mean that. The biggest scandal in the history of our country. And that is, it was all brought out in this book, Original Sin by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Let me tell you something. If what they're alleging in this book is true, it puts Watergate to shame. It puts every other scandal in this country to shame because we had a duly elected president, we think, unless there was fraud during that election, who knows at this point in time. We had a duly elected president that wasn't really the president, that wasn't running this country in his capacity to run the country. He wasn't doing it. We're going to have the auto pen scandal now that they're investigating thoroughly. This is a terrible thing, horrible thing. Remember, he's got his finger on the nuclear button. And if this man wasn't competent enough, God forbid we had a war and we had to press that button, who is going to be doing it? Not the person we elected. There has to be a full investigation into this. And let me tell you something. I don't have any respect for Jake Tapper. He's a phony as far as I'm concerned. He was one of the ones that was harping on the competency of Joe Biden. Remember that? He went along with everything Jake Tapper did. And now he's capitalizing, going to make some money on this book, The Original Sin, where he totally went against. I got to tell you something about the Democrats. They cannibalized their own for their own benefit. Look how many people now are knocking Biden. All those people that said that he was so competent, he was at the top of his game. Now they're all going against him. Morning Joe and all of these phonies and hypocrites. That's all they are. Meanwhile, the American people be damned. Because they hated Trump, because they hated MAGA so much, they supported somebody they knew they shouldn't have been supporting to the detriment of the American people. That's exactly what they did. And now they're all reversing course. Now they're all saying, oh, it was the White House's fault. Oh, well, we didn't know. And they lied to us and this and that. And that. They lied to each other. They covered up everything. This is the biggest cover up in the history of our nation because we had a president who wasn't competent to be a president. Other people were pulling the strings. I want to get into this a little bit and talk about it because this is serious. And I'm telling you something, these Republicans, they better get a backbone and they better investigate this. They had better investigate this. We need to know the truth. We need to get to the bottom of this entire scam, this entire sham that went on for 4 years in this country, without a doubt. Let me read some stuff here. Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. Like they didn't support him initially to run again? Of course they did. Absolutely they did. They supported him even though they knew he wasn't competent to run again because they wanted 4 more years of the cover-up, 4 more years of them being in control of the presidency. And this goes to Jill Biden, all his aides in the White House that were pulling the strings. No doubt. Should Jill Biden be held responsible? Absolutely. Absolutely. She was pulling the strings along with everybody else. She should be brought in front of Congress and she should be subpoenaed to tell the truth of what happened during that time because she put herself in that position and the American people need to know what kind of control and power she had during that time. Absolutely. This offers a critical examination of President Joe Biden's decision to seek re-election in 2024 amidst concerns about his cognitive and physical health that we all saw, that they all lied about. We saw it at least since 2023, when he was stumbling up the chairs of Air Force One, when he was falling on the stage, when he was walking pitter-patter through the garden as he was moving up to his plane. We saw all of this. We saw his many flubs during his interviews, the ones that he granted us. There weren't many. We saw him in foreign countries, what he did, how he made a fool of himself, how he embarrassed the American people. We saw all of this. And of course, okay, once the debate came, there was no more cover-up. They knew they couldn't do it anymore. They knew they had to get rid of him. So Nancy Pelosi stabbed him in the back. Obama stabbed him in the back. This is what they do. They cannibalize each other for their own benefit. And they put incompetent Harris in his place. And now they make excuses that Harris could have won if Biden would have got out of the race early. No, Harris was incompetent. She has no business even running for the presidency. When she first ran, okay, back in, 2020, she was the first one to leave. She didn't even get 1% of the vote because the people saw her for what she was. And all they tried to do was prop her up. She's not worthy to be president of the United States. She's not competent to sit with foreign leaders. She has no idea how to straighten out this country economically. She has no experience, nothing prior, okay, to show that she's competent enough to be president of the United States. She was a disaster as the vice president. She had nothing to do with Biden leaving early or late or anything else. She was the wrong candidate, period. Let's move on. It was published on May 20th, 2025. Here are the key themes and revelations. Cognitive and physical decline, early signs of deterioration. The authors argue that signs of Biden's decline were evident as early as 2015, intensifying during his presidency. Well, Jake Tapper, why didn't you say that then? Why are you just saying it now? To make money in a book? Okay, good job. I understand that. We all want to make money somehow, but you're a phony and you're a hypocrite because you supported this president. And now you're saying you've seen it since 2015. What credibility do you have? You're showing your cards in your first statement right there. This is all about money for you and trying to clean up something and put the blame elsewhere. That's all this is. Memory and recognition issues. We know that. He had memory lapses, such as forgetting the name of his national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. Forgot his name. You know what? I understand that. Sometimes I mix up the name of my children. I look at my one daughter and call her another. I do that. I've been doing that for years. I have no cognitive decline that I know of. I understand that. Sometimes you mix up a name. Not that big of a deal. Failing to recognize actor George Clooney at a fundraiser. Yes, where Biden had a knot in his stomach while watching the president take small steps and shuffle around greeting donors. That's different. When you don't recognize somebody that you know for 20 years, that's a sure sign that something's going on wrong. And he didn't recognize George Clooney at a fundraiser. Beginning to stare blankly at people that he had known for years and becoming more disorientated and incoherent when fatigued. You know what? Again, they've noticed this since 2015, and they're just coming out with it now, blaming Biden for all of this. They supported him. They propped him up. And let me be clear, I have no sympathy for Joe Biden, none whatsoever. Not after what he did as vice president, not after what he did at the border, not after what he did in Afghanistan. I have no sympathy with him whatsoever. Even his cancer. I don't want to see the guy die of cancer. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have that kind of hatred in my heart. But quite honestly, I have no empathy for him because everything with this man was a cover up. Everything with this Biden family, all they did was they were treated differently than everybody else. It's been a huge cover up ever since he was in office. I believe he got away with it for all of these years, and he's getting away with it now because nothing's going to happen to him other than his legacy is destroyed at this point. It really is. Anything that he might have done positive, which I can't name anything, nothing at all, has been destroyed by what he did for 4 years in office. Absolutely destroyed. And what he did as vice president. He peddled his vice presidency through his son, Hunter Biden, and his family. That's a fact. No question about it. The evidence is crystal clear as far as I'm concerned and as far as a lot of people are concerned. This is a man who sold out his country. He's treasonous. This is a man who lied consistently to the American people. That's all he did. He was a glutton for money and a glutton for power and an ego as big as the whole country. And he wants to say Donald Trump has a big ego, which he does. Biden overwhelmingly had a bigger ego than him. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. They even talked about putting him in a wheelchair. His doctor said they might put him in a wheelchair because if he falls again, it might be hard for him to get up and ever walk again. They knew that he was this deteriorated to this point, and they covered it up. Covered it up. This man was the president of the United States. Do you realize what went down here? Do you realize what his aides did, what Obama did, what Pelosi did, what all of the media did by covering up the fact that the president of the United States wasn't competent to carry on his presidential duties, that other people were running the country on his behalf? Do you understand this? This is the biggest cover-up in the history of our country, no doubt. And we need to get to the bottom of this. And Republicans, don't stop. Get a backbone, get a spine, and take this through. The American people have to know what went on here so this never happens again. This is not about revenge. This is about accountability to the American people that put this man in office, if that wasn't a fraud also. You got to question everything at this point because these people lied to us so much, and they're all admitting that they lied. They're admitting there was a cover-up. They're cannibalizing their own. They're blaming each other. Do you see what went on here? That's why I'm saying you can never trust these people again. You can never trust them in power again because they'll continue. There's nothing to say that they won't. They won't even own up to it now. They're blaming one another. They're not taking responsibility for it. They're blaming one another. These are bad people that are only interested in money and power. Mafia democracy. It's in my book. Go and read it. I nailed it because I've seen it. I saw it early on. They're operating like the mafia. No question about it, but worse because they can really affect the lives of not only the people in this country, but people around the world. They can cause havoc and chaos, and they did. Can't trust these people ever again. Lie to you once, lie to you twice, 3 times. No, 33 times, 1,000 times. They lied for years about everything. Inner circle protection. Tapper and Thompson contend Biden's inner circle, including family members and senior aides, deliberately concealed the extent of his decline from the public, the media, and even some cabinet members. Do you know that the cabinet, when he sat down with his cabinet members, they said it was scripted and rehearsed. They wrote notes for him. He didn't even recognize some of his cabinet members. They got to just saying it was like, it was like play acting during the cabinet meetings. He wasn't in charge. He wasn't in control. He didn't know what they were saying. He didn't understand what his cabinet was doing. Do you understand how horrible this is? How could you ever give these people an opportunity to rule over you again? And that's what they do. They control our lives in many ways. They want big government. They want behemoth government. They want to say in everything that you do, in your house, in your car, on the street, when you're walking your dog. They want to say in everything in your life. This is what they're all about, these progressives. You can never trust them again after this horrible, horrible scandal and cover-up. Tapper stated on CNN that the book showed that the White House was lying, not only to the press, not only to the public, but they were lying to members of their own cabinet. They were lying to White House staffers. They were lying to Democratic members of Congress, to donors about how bad things had gotten. You know what? Yeah, they were lying, but they were all lying because the cabinet members spoke to people in Congress. They knew what went on during those cabinet meetings. They didn't make Congress aware. And remember, in Trump's address to Congress, what did the Democrats do? They sat down there, even though they knew that Biden's presidency was a disaster. They didn't try to support Donald Trump. They sat down and continued the cover-up. And they're continuing it now. And they're continuing the lies right now. They're continuing the lies about the border. They're continuing the lies about deportation. Sanctuary cities are still protecting illegal migrant criminals. Not illegal migrants only, illegal migrant criminals. It comes out every day. They won't cover it. They won't. I'm telling you, you gotta look at some of the conservative news outlets because they show you video of what's happening. Remember what happened when we saw, Biden falling down and Biden doing all of these things that displayed his cognitive decline? They said that they were doctoring the video. They even tried to make you believe you didn't see what you saw with your own eyes. They lied to the extent that I've never seen lies before. And they're still lying. They're not owning up to it now. They're just blaming one another. Jake Tapper now is blaming everybody else. The poor media got taken in by the White House and by the staffers. BS. Your hatred for Trump allowed you not to investigate. You're the media. Why didn't you investigate, Jake Tapper? Why didn't you get into it when you saw Biden falling down? When you saw him, flubbing his lines? When you saw all this, why didn't you investigate further during that time? Because you went along with it. You know that. You saw what we saw, but you went along with it. And you had a duty as an investigative reporter to look into this further, but you didn't. You went along with it because you had Trump derangement syndrome at the time too. Now that it serves your purpose better, you're blaming everybody else. Who are you kidding? You're a hypocrite. Totally. The result of more than 200 interviews, the book is a damning account of an elderly, egotistical president shielded from reality by a slavish coterie of loyalists and family members united by a shared, seemingly ironclad sense of denial. Yeah, good. Blame everybody else. You went along with it, Tapper. You went along with it. You're capitalizing on it now. Hey, you're making some money. I get it. But don't rid yourself of any responsibility here. You had as much or more responsibility as an investigative reporter to search out the truth, to make sure that what you saw with your own eyes, you had to investigate, but you didn't. You went along with it because you hated Trump. Impact on the 2024 election. The book draws a direct line between the decision to run for re-election and an eventual defeat to Donald Trump. This is BS. BS. Don't clean it up for Harris. She wasn't a good candidate. She was incompetent. She didn't know how to speak. She had no experience economically whatsoever to straighten out this country. She had no foreign experience whatsoever dealing with diplomats from foreign countries. She could have never stood up to China or Iran or anything else. You know that, or Russia. She was an incompetent candidate. She should have never been there. So don't blame Biden for that. And don't say Harris didn't have enough time. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Neither one of them were fit to be president. Delayed withdrawal. It suggests that Biden's delayed withdrawal from the race following a poor debate performance left the Democratic Party with insufficient time to mount a robust campaign with Vice President Kamala Harris as the nominee. Again, this is another lie. You can't even tell the truth in this book. You're a liar. Either that or you're dumb. If you couldn't see that Harris wasn't competent enough to be president, then you're dumb. Either you're a liar or you're dumb. One of the two, or both maybe. Who knows? Had Biden announced he would serve only one term after the midterm elections, the party could have run a primary and selected a candidate who wasn't saddled with the considerable damage of Biden's administration. Absolutely true. Absolutely. If they were honest and said Biden is only good for one term, he wasn't even good for that, but he was only good for one term, and they would have had a primary so the American people had the ability to elect somebody or to nominate somebody that they felt was competent. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But they covered it up. Covered it up. Harris campaign challenges. For Tapper and Thompson, Kamala Harris never had a chance. Please, you have zero credibility in this regard. She couldn't break from the unpopular administration she belonged to. She was a liar also. She was in on the scam. She was in on the cover-up. She sat with Biden. She knew he was incompetent, and she said he was brilliant, top of his game. She's a liar, and she's a phony and a hypocrite. She covered it up to the detriment of the American people. She didn't deserve to be a nominee. And she wasn't nominated. She was installed. You're a liar. David Plouffe, veteran Democratic strategist, said Biden's delayed decision to drop out totally effed us and described the Harris campaign as a rescue mission with a effing nightmare timeline. Give me a break. You know, how do these people ever get put in these positions? How do they get put in these positions? They expect us to believe that. They think we're all stupid. How do they get into these positions? You're saying that because Biden dropped out late, Harris couldn't. Harris went along with everything. Harris went along with the border. She went along with everything that Biden did. She supported it all. She even said she couldn't find anything wrong with what Biden did in his disastrous presidency. And now you want to say that poor Harris didn't have a chance to remove herself from that administration? She was the administration. She went along with it. She totally was an abortion at the border. She didn't do anything. Stop trying to prop her up. Be honest for once. You don't know how to be honest. Nobody in that party knows how to be honest. They know how to throw the blame around to everybody else now. that the truth came out to the American people, that we saw it all with our own eyes. We've been seeing it for years. Debate performance. I don't even want to get into that. We all saw it. You know, people, it's basically sickening to me. It really is. How these people want to go on and on and on, and now they want to, blame one another and blame this party and blame that party. You know what? They all were in on the cover up. The media had an obligation to investigate further when they saw Biden's deteriorated state. They had they had to. Morning Joe, who got up there and said Biden is at the top of his game. He's brilliant. While he's seen him falling up the stairs, falling on the stage, flubbing his lines, forgetting who people were, falling asleep when he's sitting at the table, staring blankly when everybody is around him singing, shuffling, signs of deterioration. They had an obligation to investigate and report the truth. They're the media. They didn't do it because they hated Trump. They said to the American people, be damned. We don't care. His policies stink. The border is open. People are dying. Women are getting raped by illegal criminal migrants. We don't care. We hate Donald Trump, so the American people be damned. This is the truth. It's the absolute truth. The facts bear me out. These Democrats didn't even have the decency to stand up for the parents of the two women that were raped and murdered. That's how much they hate Trump. That's how much they love power. That's how much they love being in control. Didn't even have the decency. Trump and Harris didn't have the decency to reach out to the Gold Star family members of the 13 military that lost their lives in the aborted withdrawal of Afghanistan, that Biden went against his military advisors because he wanted to show that he could withdraw from Afghanistan. So people died. People died through COVID because of this cover-up and the lies that the Democratic Party told us. They died. Loved ones were not allowed to be at the side of their loved ones that died because of this massive cover-up. Fauci, Biden, the entire administration. You going to forget that? I can't forget that. Are you going to forget it and give these people any kind of recognition or power ever again? AOC, Bernie Sanders, are you kidding me? They're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. I'm telling it like it is. Liars and hypocrites who don't care about you. AOC, parading around the country. Speak to people from her district. She's absent. She does nothing. She doesn't even show up. She says she shows up, and they say she's lying. People in her own district, her own constituency say she's lying. She's running around the country auditioning for presidency of the United States in 2028. It's all about her. All about the gown she's going to wear, when she goes to one of these Democratic functions. Excuse me, to show herself. This is all this is. They don't care. They're socialists. They want to take money from your pocket to feed their own and feed their own causes. That's what this is all about. They've shown it. I'm sorry. And you know what? Has nothing to do with Trump. Never existed. This is who these people are. They don't care about the American people. They lie. They steal our money. They defraud us. Elon Musk, the darling of the Democrats with his electric cars. Now he's hated because he became a Trump ally, because he's exposed the fraud and abuse that they've been laying on us for years. Now they hate him. This is so obvious, people. Musk became the enemy. He lost money during this whole Doge thing. Look at the facts, but he's the enemy. He's a greater patriot than any one of these people. These people are liars, frauds, and hypocrites. Need I say more? Why do I do this? Not because I want to say this about people, because I'm trying to protect this country. We have midterm elections coming up. You can't give these people power ever again. They've shown that all they do is abuse it for their own benefit. You can't give them any power. We have a presidential election in 2028. Trump is not running again. You can't put them. Who are they going to put? Who are they going to nominate? Who? I don't know one person that's competent in that party that's revealed themselves. And let me tell you something. I want a two-party race. I've said this many times. My suggestion is for the progressives in the Democratic Party to break off and be their own party, because there are many good Democrats that are being controlled by these progressives. I don't know why. I don't know why they just don't kick them to the curb. They're in the minority. I don't know why. They don't have any backbone. None. Say, get out. Go be your own party. Let's have a 3-party system, a 4-party system with independents. That's good for the country. And let's raise up a good Democrat, a centrist, who represents the values of most Democrats around the country. I know many Democrats. They're good people. They don't stand for all this nonsense. They don't want men competing against women in sports. They don't want abortions in the 9th term. They don't want open borders. They don't want all of this stuff. They're good people that are being controlled by our irrational, delusional party. They're so out of whack. They're so radical. Let them become their own party and let them die on the vine, because that's what will happen. Enough people to get to see. These people are crazy. They're a cult. They're a cult. Trust me when I tell you that. They have no religion. They're a cult. Let's get to some questions. Yeah, I'm fired up this morning because, this book fired me up. I got to be honest with you. It really did. By the way, we're having a big discount on Franzese wine. I believe it's 22% off if you go to Franzese Wine. It's my birthday celebration. It's still existing. My birthday was May 27th, 74 years old. So we're continuing throughout the week. 22% discount. Go to franzesewine.com and you'll get the discount, I think, at checkout. franzesewine.com. My birthday gift to all of you. 22% discount for all of you. So go and try it. Man, people are loving it. Our pomegranate wine, I'm thinking, my wife is talking to me during this. Our Areni, all of our wines are great. 22% off this weekend only. It's extending my birthday celebration for all of you, my birthday discount. We got great varieties. Our white wine is terrific. Our pomegranate wine, unique. Nobody else has it. Everybody loves it. Our Areni is the original Pinot Noir. Terrific. You're going to love it all. Try it. I think I'm going to wrap it up for today, people. I think I've said enough. And yeah, I can't help it on these lives. Every time I talk about it, it just upsets me more to think that they could have done this to the people of this country. God forbid they would have gotten another 4 years. Harris would have been in the same position as Biden. Same position. Because they would have told her, sit down. We put you in this position. The way we put you here, we can destroy you. So you listen to what we have to say. And if you don't think that these people are vicious enough to do that, you're wrong. They're vicious. That's what they would have done with Harris. Because first of all, she's incompetent. She doesn't know the left from the right. She doesn't know what's right or wrong. She comes out with this economic policy during the campaign. What did she ever do economically? That she's going to straighten out the greatest economy in the world, the biggest economy in the world. She never ran a business. She probably never wrote a check in her life. But she's going to she has an economic policy. And you think that was her policy? Give me a break. They would have sat her down if she would have got elected and said, you're going to do exactly what we tell you to do. Period. And she would have had to listen because she doesn't know. You say, okay, I guess you're right. Foreign affairs, you wanted to see Harris deal with China? Deal with Iran? Deal with Russia? Are you kidding me? Please. And now they want to say she didn't have enough time to show how terrific she was. Give me a break. You're still lying. And you'll continue to lie because that's all you know. You're liars. My friend, how do I always leave you? listen, I hope you have an incredible week. You know, the summer's starting. It's great. Memorial Day weekend, always the start of the summer. So I hope you have plans. I hope you have vacations. I hope this is a wonderful summer for you. I pray that Trump does the right thing for America so that we all profit and we all benefit by it. That's my wishes for all of you. How do I always leave you? Same way. Be safe. Be healthy. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. God bless your communities, your neighborhoods. And don't forget, go to franziswine.com as my birthday gift to all of you. You get a 22% discount. Our pomegranate, our Areni, our Malbec, our white wine. Great, great, great selections. People are loving it. And people, we're starting to blanket the country now. We just picked up Vons. We got Walmart. We got Costco. We got Total Wines. We're going all over the country. Pretty soon, all of you will be able to enjoy it in your towns, your neighborhoods, your cities, in your homes. That's what we're striving for. We've made great, great, great strides over this past year. We were in 400 locations last year. Now we're in 3,400, and we're growing every day. Why? Because people are loving the wine. They love the price. We always give value, and now we're giving even more value. 22% off as my birthday gift to you. It ends tomorrow night. So go on franziswine.com. We'll deliver it right to your door. You'll love it. God bless each and every one of you. And yes, I'll see you next time. Take care.